Hello, good evening, and welcome. And this evening we have a Devar Torah from Irene to begin with. So over to you, Irene.
Thanks, Morris. Okay, this week's Sedra is Ki Tisa. It tells us how Moshe received the first version of the tablets of stone on which the Ten Commandments were written by the finger of Hashem. He was going to bring them down to the people after 40 days on Mount Sinai, where he was with Hashem learning the whole of Torah. The tablets were holy. The Talmud tells us that Hashem wrote them in the twilight period between the sixth day of creation and Shabbat. In the Green Siddur, it's in Pirkei Avot on page 554. So that means the tablets were actually part of creation. They were full of many miracles. One was that they were inscribed on both sides. The Talmud tells us that the carving went straight through, and so the centers of some of the letters, for example, the Samach, were miraculously suspended in air, just demonstrating that the Torah as a whole could only have been given by Hashem. Everyone knows the dramatic story. Moshe came down and saw the people had made the golden calf. Hashem already told him about it, but it really came home to him when he actually saw it with his own eyes. The Parsha describes how special relationships were affected by this disastrous sin. And remember, this occurred just 40 days after the heights of spirituality that they reached at Mount Sinai, the same people that Hashem had saved from slavery and miraculously brought out of Egypt and gave his special gift of Torah. So that relationship between Hashem and his chosen people is tested to the limit. Hashem even threatened to annihilate them all instantly when Moshe was with him on Mount Sinai. Moshe vigorously defended the people and very was successful. He argued with Hashem and he saved the day and won. But having succeeded in reversing this decree, Moshe himself was so furious with the people that he showed it by smashing the holy tablets into smithereens in full view of the entire nation. Throughout the rest of the story of Exodus and beyond, each of these relationships is tested. Hashem and the people, Hashem and Moshe and the people. The golden calf was the turning point. The reality of total unity among the people was sadly short-lived. The instruction to build the Mishkan, the tabernacle, was designed to recreate that lost unity. And after the destruction of both temples, there are two places where we're supposed to display that special relationships with Hashem and with one another. Our Jewish homes, which is the miniature tabernacle, and our synagogues. The antidote designed by Hashem for the sin of the golden calf is clearly to create, build, and develop not just houses of prayer, but Jewish homes and Jewish communities. Today is also Shabbat Parah, which we learn atones for the golden calf, the Egel HaZagav. The one tribe that did not worship the golden calf were the Levites. They were the epitome of trust in Hashem, and that trust is what we need to improve in ourselves. The red heifer was a sacred sacrifice, but instead of being offered on the altar inside the temple, it was slaughtered outside the temple area. And that tells us that God is concerned with those on the inside and the outside. He wants everyone to be part of the whole community. Our relationship with Hashem is built on this trust. We trust him that he has our welfare in mind at all times, even when we don't see it or understand. Today, with no temple or red heifer, and having spent the last 2.5 years trying to figure out what's happened to this topsy-turvy world since October the 7th, and now the recent and the current war with Iran, and the world turning against us. And on the other hand, the unprecedented support and partnership Israel is getting from America. We, each and every one of us, can do our bit by working on our levels of trust in Hashem. And to emphasize this, we can look at the divine nature of that first set of tablets. They were a direct communication with Hashem. After he decided to forgive the people, he commanded Moshe to prepare a second set with the same words, which Moshe wrote. This represents more empowerment for us to renew and rebuild our relationship with him. Plans do change, but the Talmud tells us that the broken tablets were not fixed up. They weren't repaired. They were put separately into the ark alongside with the new ones. That message is to remind us that they are holy, and also that we learn from them the past, and also to remind ourselves that when we have to make alternative plans, they too can have their own added advantages and can lead to deeper connections. So our part to play is more trust and increased faith. Emunah, they're the lessons for today. Shabbat Shalom.
Shekayach.
Oh,
Good.